Oh, small minor error here. Man, these live shows are just something freaking else. Hey, I got to give some Australian Supercross some kudos, okay? Because I'm a fan of racing, all around good racing. And this track was something that I suggest you guys go watch. You'll probably find something on YouTube. Somebody probably uploaded. They might not have paid for it. But anyway, still, just go watch the race. It was some good racing. However, this track might have been potentially one of the, I wouldn't say scariest tracks I've ever seen, but it was a track that you had to really, really have finesse and throttle control. Like most of the time, it looked like these guys were riding around in fourth gear because they didn't want to touch the brakes and they didn't want to have a hard, torquey acceleration from maybe first or second gear. And the track was like a mud race, but it wasn't a mud race. It was so hard pack and clay that it was just blue groove. So just like my thumbnail says, you have to slow down to go fast. And that's exactly what these guys did. I would have hated to be on a 450, and they had to make sure that they were upright, straight up and down whenever they were going through the whoops or in a rhythm section. When I watched them scrub, it looked like me scrubbing, which isn't saying a whole lot. It's like the old man scrub where you come off the jump and then you have the little butt whip because you didn't want to literally like ice skate off the lip because you were going to die. Stay tuned for my lines video. I've got a much planned for this because I do want to show it because there was some pretty good lines there. But a lot of the guys, they were very, very cautious. And you even heard some of the riders, Anstein, who ended up going 1-1-1. He's pretty much owning over there. He's riding like Ken Roczen in the World Supercross, where he just looks like he's another level above everybody in the 250 class. It was a much bigger racetrack as well, which was cool. It wasn't an arena cross. And that's what I like, is they're going to different stadiums. That to me seems like something maybe more series should do, or super motocross, where could you imagine if super motocross went to like some sort of an arena cross style track for one round so Freeze could come in and win the race by cleaning everybody out and brake checking? Yeah, it'd make for some good racing / TV drama, whatever. But anytime these guys touched each other, they pretty much went down. We'll see if anything happens by me showing this. But hey, I want you to watch. Here, let me go into, can we make it bigger? Yeah, bigger. Watch Brayton with the number 1 and Luke Clout. They're barely going to touch each other and they're going to go down. Boom. Just instantly take you out. Like if you had traction, that wouldn't happen. If you had traction, there's no way that would have happened. It was so slippery that as soon as they bumped into each other, it just took out Brayton's front wheel. So these guys were having to be incredibly cautious. And Anstein, he even said that he was going through 5th gear in the whoops just to keep kind of the RPMs down. Just barely touching him, and boom, freaking goes down like a ton of bricks. And you know that track probably was fairly hard with Brayton falling and hitting his head on it. So Brayton is one of those guys where I'm like, I don't know how this guy keeps racing and injury free. But the last couple weekends, unfortunately, he's gone down hard. He went down at World Supercross by landing on, gosh, I can't think of it. Was it Clout? Nah. Anyway, somebody in the comments is probably going to be able to share. I could go back and look, but we're live. I can't know it off the top of my head. I'm actually late for a dinner because I decided to go live on YouTube. And truthfully, really sweet race. Liked how it was much more open. The track layout was better. You had some different lines where guys were going triple, double, triple on, but a lot of guys were really not using their brakes. They were coasting into corners. And that's what kept me interested about this, is not the lack of it being unsafe, but just the lack of like control it took to ride a motorcycle that has 60 plus horsepower. I'm sure the ECUs were all on traction control, the lowest retardation setting that they had, just so that they kept it on 2 wheels. If I had to say anything about the event during the heat races, they were going into the light into the sunset in the whoops, which a couple guys ended up going down hard about it. Unfortunately, I have a gripe with that because I've talked to some promoters locally in Colorado about the same thing, and I've got a grade 3 separated shoulder because of it. It's not their fault. It's my effing fault for racing and missing a whoop and then going down, but I could not freaking see. And I'm sure these guys had to have some sort of gnarly tint for that to happen. In the heat races, you saw a lot of guys kind of opt for doubling and also slowing down on the whoops because you just can't see. And truthfully, like if you know if you're going to have an event, and I say this to all even promoters, if you know you're having an event and you need to keep it on time, well, build the track so that you know when the sunset is and don't have whoops going into the sunset. Have it go the opposite direction so at least there's some shade there and keep all the riders safe. That's really the only gripe that I have, and I see it happen not just here, but I see it happen locally. I see it happen at other fair events, and even the arena cross and some of the other guys around the country in the United States. It's a big enough issue that I feel like I should have to talk about that. But anyway, I am pretty much done. Make sure you subscribe. Hey, I'm at 45,100. So I appreciate every single one of you SOBs that like the stuff. And I have a lines video planned for next week. Yeah, I know it's the off season, but yet there's still racing going around the world. I like to call this future racing because they're actually like 12, 13 hours ahead. It's actually Sunday over there. So they actually raced yesterday, Friday. But anyway, till next time, keep it WFO.